Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour, your source for all hard rock, heavy metal, new metal, alternative, punk, horror punk, hardcore, rock, and all local bands, with your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather, and as always, I'm bringing you guys awesome interviews. Today, it is an honor and a huge privilege to have Mr. Gus G. Yes, he is the ex-Ozzy Osbourne lead guitarist, but he has a new album that's out called Fearless, and I'm going to be talking to him about that. So, Gus, how's it going?
Hey, I'm fine, man. How you doing?
Doing awesome. I absolutely love your guitar playing. I love your music, and glad to have you on here.
Thank you very much.
So let's jump right into this. This is a very good album from you, vocalist Dennis Ward and drummer Will Hunt. But it seemed like this album was kind of a meant to be thing from you guys, because you collaborated with Dennis Ward for a number of years, and he produced the current Firewind album, and right. Will Hunt, agreed to play drums on here with you. So let's talk about this a little bit, man, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, I mean, the thing is, with Dennis, we wrote some songs together back in 2009 for a project that never actually happened, and then obviously 2009 I joined Ozzy's band, so we put that project on the shelf. And then I revisited some of those ideas a couple of years ago, so I hit him up again, and we ended up doing the Firewind album, the Immortals album that came out last year. And since we started writing, I mean, we really clicked together, and we finished up all those songs pretty quickly. So the next logical step was that I sent him some of my solo music, and he started putting vocal lines over it. And before we knew it, we had some pretty kick-ass songs that could go on, but ended up on this album. And at that time, I didn't have a singer, but Dennis does all the pilot tracks for the demos. And in the end, he said, dude, if you want, I can sing on this and play the bass, and we can go out as a trio. So that came to me as a shock. I didn't really expect that he wanted to go out on tour with this. So it was really cool.
Yeah, Dennis is a phenomenal singer. If anybody gets a chance, please pick up Fearless and listen to this album, because Dennis Ward can freaking sing like nobody's business. So I'll give him high props on that.
Yeah, and everybody knows him as a bass player primarily in Unisonic and Pink Cream 69. So nobody really knew, or they know him from doing production. So all these years, nobody really ever knew that he had such a good voice. And just doing the demos and stuff. And I was like, man, whoever comes into the picture now is going to have a hard time recreating your lines. And so it made sense to me that we should keep Dennis's vocals on the record.
What's impressed you the most about making the new album Fearless? Is there anything that stands out more to you on it, if anything, possibly?
To me, it's just a cool thing to have a solid partner to co-write the songs and co-produce this record. I mean, it was different from the last two albums in the sense that the first two albums had lots of guests and different collaborations, whereas on this one, it's a little bit more as a band effort. It's basically me and Dennis. And then, of course, we have Will Hunt, who came in and did the drum tracks. So, yeah, I mean, it was meant to be a bit more simplistic and a bit more straightforward record, less experimentation and more kind of like to the point songwriting and, incorporating a lot of the elements that my fans have known me for all these years, my guitar sound and my style, which is, heavy but also melodic.
I know that Dennis has produced the current Firewind album, but how's working with Dennis as a producer versus him as a singer on this? Let's talk about that a little bit.
Well, we produced this together, basically. He's, because I have a pretty clear vision where I want to go musically, so I do all the music, and then, I listen to him, when it comes, I take his input as well, and then, of course, I send him, I'll send him a demo with drums. I'll program the drums and play guitars and bass, and then I'll be like, okay, check this out, and then he'll do vocals over that. And we go back and forth until we fine-tune all the details. I mean, he's also the engineer, so he engineered the drum tracks and mixed the record. Like I said, it was just like one of those collaborations. It's just good to have a good team and somebody to write songs with. And we don't really discuss stuff too much in detail. We just go ahead and do these ideas. So the cool thing with Dennis is that he really understands what I'm trying to go for every time I send him something. And I like that. I mean, when we make a Firewind record, it's a totally different situation because that's a different sound, that's a different style. and he respects where Firewind's coming from and what the sound of that band is like. And then when we went into the solo record, he got it right away what I was trying to do with this. Yeah.
Are there any songs, Gus, off the Fearless album that stand out more to you than any on it as of right now? And after this, I won't get right into this album because I really, really like this about the music on here.
I mean, I like the opening track, Letting Go. I like Mr. Manson. I love all the songs right now. It's pretty fresh to me. I like the instrumental Thrill of the Chase. Yeah, I really like the ballad we did, Nothing to Say. So there's a lot of good moments on the record.
You know, I say this a lot about albums, but this is the truth about this one. Once this album takes off, it's like a roller coaster. I mean, it goes, it plates out, it goes up, down. I mean, it's to me, it's a really good, hard-hitting album from start to finish.
Thank you. And that, we were aiming for that. I mean, obviously, when I write these days, it's I put a little bit more thought into, in writing in different keys. I push myself sometimes to write in different keys or different tempos and try out different stuff, so it doesn't end up being like variations over one main riff in one key, which is a lot of bands fall into that loop. So once you start thinking about those kind of details, you're painting a different picture. So although there's a sort of a cohesiveness throughout the record, there are all these different elements in there, and that's what I like about it.
Yeah, like you said, when it first starts out, Letting Go is a great song. Mr. Manson, Don't Tread on Me is a badass song too. Fearless,
thanks,
I mean, nothing to say, but what really caught me, it was really a really good cover from you guys, is Dire Straits' classic Money. Yeah. What led you guys
for Nothing.
Yeah. What led you guys to do this, and plus to change it up a little bit?
That was just an idea I had, and I was just brainstorming. I wanted to do one cover on this record, and this just came to me. It's one of those iconic riffs that I grew up listening to. I mean, everybody loves that song, and it's such a great guitar riff. And this idea came to me that I should probably do a heavier version of it with half tempo from what it actually is. So I just tried it, and I just did a little demo, and then I sent it to Dennis, and I said, "Hey man, check this out, and maybe we can try to mess around a little bit with it in the studio," and that's what we did. So I'm also surprised how we made that song our own. So it's pretty cool. It's a fun song. We actually even tried to play it live this past weekend, and it goes down really well.
Gus, do you do anything differently during the writing and recording process to help keep your mind fresh and open to not let the music get stale? Because, I mean, I know at some points it does, but do you do anything differently?
To be honest, no, not really. It was more or less the same procedure as always. What's fresh about this is that the way that, I mean, on the first two solo records, like I said, I was writing with different people. So I would do a couple of songs with one producer and then with another, or I would try out to write with different singers. This one, like I said, it was cool that because me and Dennis just kept on writing until we were happy with the ideas. And before we knew it, we had an album's worth of material. So just exchanging files, it was easy and quick. And some ideas were older, stuff that I kept in the vault, and some stuff was newer, stuff that I had composed pretty recently. Some ideas were half-finished from a while ago, and I went in and revisited them. I mean, I always write stuff on my spare time, and I put them, I stash them in my computer, or write stuff I record on my phone, and I revisit it later. And then usually I'll start off with something like that, and then I'll write new stuff as we go. Yeah, that's more or less how I do it. And another thing is that we wrote pretty sporadically. We didn't sit down and write like, okay, let's sit down for a month and write. It was like we would do one song here and there, and then we'd take a break because I would go out on tour, and then when I would get back home, I would work on a new idea. So the material was written sporadically over a period of some months.
Being a guitar player, man, do you have to, keep pushing yourself to come up with stuff differently all the time, or you just let it just flow with you?
No, I always try to push the envelope, to be honest. I always try to do something that I haven't done before, try to come up with better melodies or more memorable stuff, or when it comes to technical parts, I try to push myself there as well and come up with interesting guitar licks and stuff. I mean, it's always a journey, I mean, the guitar never really ends, so you always keep learning as you do it.
What can fans expect at a show from the mighty Gus G when they come out to see you live, man?
Well, right now I'm trying this thing. It's like a power trio band, which is the first for me. So it's me and Dennis. Obviously, Will Hunt cannot join us on the shows because he's so busy with Evanescence, but we have other friends helping us out, different drummers. So I mean, it's a pretty high energy show, a bit more raw because obviously it's just the three of us. So there's a lot of space for me on stage right now to just do all my stuff and basically take up that center guy type of role. But having good musicians is important. Having a kick-ass band, and Dennis is a multi-talented guy, and so yeah, it's like I said, it's a bit more raw. The songs, I mean, live they will sound a bit more raw and heavier. But it is a high-energy show.
Now, we're living in the digital era of recording albums and plus social media to get music out quicker and plus reach out to more fans with social media. Do you like this that we're in right now?
Yeah, I have no problem with it. Honestly, I think it's pretty amazing that if you think about it, like you can go globally. You can just upload a file and put it on the internet, and then you can reach out everybody in all corners of the world. Whereas when it was the physical distribution era, there were always some territories that were left out, and you couldn't get to release the album in certain countries. I mean, now you basically can reach everybody. Sure, I understand. From the old school point of view, you lose a little bit of that. That kind of like the ritual of picking up a vinyl, really, or a CD, and then just reading out of the booklet and the lyrics and all the details and stuff like that, and then you have to like that whole procedure. But there's also the old school fans that still buy all the CDs and vinyls, and that's why we do all these limited packages these days and the bundles. So to me, I don't care, man. As long as people like the music, that's all that matters. At the end of the day, you just listen to the music. That's what it's all about.
Support-wise, is there a country or a location that you've seen that stands out more or surprises you, that you get support from that location or country?
I don't know. I mean, we get messages and feedback from fans from all over the world, man. It's like from South America to India to, of course, all over Europe, Australia, you name it. It's pretty mind-blowing where people come from, and then you're like, oh, wow. I mean, last month we were doing a tour with Fire in Latin America for the first time, and we played in El Salvador and Guatemala and countries like that where I had no clue that we even had fans there. So it was pretty surreal. You go there after 15 years and you're like, wow, some people here know us, and they've waited for us for 15 years, and they have the albums, and it's pretty mind-blowing.
That is special. That's a special moment right there, my friend.
Yeah, especially like that first time when you go into a territory you've never been before and you don't know what to expect. So so that's nice. That's always nice for sure.
What made you want to become a musician, Gus? What was that spark for you that said, yeah, I want to do that?
Actually, it was a vinyl of Peter Frampton, Frampton Comes Alive, that my dad had at home when I was a kid. I used to listen to that, and when he did the talkbox guitar, it seemed to me that it was like a robot talking. So I knew right there and then when I was 9 years old that I wanted to learn how to do that. Yeah.
What was your thoughts on coming in to playing guitar for Ozzy after Zach left to do his own thing with Black Label Society? What was your thoughts on that?
I mean, it was pretty crazy that it even happened, I mean, I never thought that I would get to play with Ozzy, honestly. But they found me, and I don't know how they found me, and they asked me to come out and audition, and it went really well, and I ended up doing a record. I mean, the whole idea was that I would do a record and a tour with him, and then I ended up being with him for about 8 years, and yeah, it was amazing. It was an experience of a lifetime, It really put me on a whole lot different status out there in the music world, and it was an incredible experience. It made me a much better musician and a professional. So I've had a lot of fun. Yeah.
Any show or moment that stands out to you more than any that you can recall being part of Ozzy's band that you can talk about possibly?
The thing is, every day on the tour with him was a big day. Every show was a big show. It's hard to really separate. I mean, I really had a lot of fun when we went down to South America because it was like a whole new level of craziness there. But, everywhere in the world was fantastic. When we toured Canada, it was great. When we toured America, it was great. Europe was excellent. Japan. So, I don't know, it's like Ozzy's huge everywhere, and those were huge shows, and it was just amazing to go around the world with him for a few times. So there isn't just one. I mean, okay, yeah, getting to play legendary venues like Madison Square Garden and stuff like that, that's, those are like milestones and stuff. But just to get to play big shows like that with him, it's just great wherever it was in the world.
What's it mean to you when you receive an email from a fan, or prior to the shows or after the shows, they tell you, Gus, that, you know, your music has helped them through a tough time, it's gave them inspiration to become a guitar player, or it's just made them relax and get away from the everyday bullshit that we go through? What's that mean to you as a guitarist, man?
Man, for me, whenever I hear something like that from a fan, from a supporter, it's like, it just makes my day, because, you know, all the hard work and all the traveling and all the hours I put into this and effort to go to travel and in every country and play for them, it makes up for all of it, you know, however tired you are, or sometimes, you know, because we get frustrated too sometimes. So it really, it's like, you know, whenever you hear something nice and positive like that, you're like, well, this is why we do it, man, because it means something to some people. And they connect with the music. So that's what it's all about.
Folks, Gus G's new album, Fearless, is out. Go pick this up right now. Trust me, it's a really, really great album. If you like heavy stuff, this is where it's at. Will and Dennis, they've done a phenomenal job on this album as well. And like I said, I think this was a meant-to-be album. So, Gus, how can folks stay in touch with you, buy some merchandise, tickets, this album? How can they do that, my friend?
Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate it. Well, they can go to my website. It's gusgofficial.com, or on Facebook. They'll find me there, or on Twitter or Instagram. So I'm all over social media, and they'll find the links there. That's it, really.
And before I let you go, good sir, would you care to do a promo for my show?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'd love to. Hey, everyone, this is Gus G, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Everybody stick around. We got some great music coming up, and you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour and the BODS Mayhem Radio Network. Thank you so much, Gus.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it, man.